I'm RavenEAP, and this is my buddy Spawn of Voorhees, and this is what we do every Sunday. We get together, two two whole ass continents apart, and discuss horror movies. And this week we are discussing Rob Zombie's horror films, which won the poll altogether. Which and it actually works well because I just watched a couple of his movies not too long ago. So I actually just watched Spawn of Voorhees, not Spawn of Voorhees. I just watched Lord of Salem this morning.
That's I've got my own film today.
Yeah, just watched Spawn of Voorhees today. Apparently, oh, after the fall with the sub. Thanks, baby. This is what I do every Sunday. Yes, that is correct. Hello, Sinfonia.
Hello, Symphonia. Hope you well.
All right. So you said you had 8, but so do you have are you doing? But you haven't seen El Super Beasto, right?
No, but what I've done, I'll get into what I've got. I've got Ace of the Face Cup. Right, I won't do it in order. No, actually, I'll mess it up and do it in order. I've got all the films. The only one I ace in is El Super Beasto.
Okay.
That's the
Yeah.
only one I ace in.
Okay. I have El Super Beasto. Like I've seen the trailer for Werewolf Women of the SS. I don't know if that was your other one that you wanted to. I know it's just a trailer, but that was
No, I ain't got that one. I've got 8. The the only one I ace in is El Super Beasto, but I ace in that one that you've just said as well.
okay. Yeah, that one was just a trailer. If you've seen Grindhouse, you've seen it.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tell you what I am looking forward to though, Raven, is Monsters coming out.
Oh yeah, yes,
That
very much
looks
so.
good, that does.
Yes, and he looks like he's staying. Like it looks like he's not going the Rob Zombie route either. Like he's actually going to kind of pay it justice and not do the whole white trash thing
Yeah,
that he's
yeah.
kind of known for there. Which again, not hating on, love Rob Zombie films, most Rob Zombie films.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm the same.
I think
I'm the same.
they are really they're really fun, and I watched. I've watched a lot this past week of his films, and one opinion kind of changed because of it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I feel that.
uh, but yeah. So if you're unaware, today we're going to be talking about Rob Zombie's films. It's House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, Halloween, Halloween 2, Lords of Salem, The Haunted World of El Super Beasto, 31, and 3 from Hell. I don't think I'm
Yeah,
missing. Am I missing anything else?
them are all the ones that I've
Okay.
got.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, per usual, as you see, I got the numbers listed here on the screen for to be able to see our rankings as we go. And as always, I think we're gonna go in. I think we'll go in order here. Not necessarily like sequel order or anything, but more just release date order.
Okay.
If you're if you're good with that. So let me see. That means we're obviously going to start with House of a Thousand Corpses. And all right, as always, I will let you go first.
Right, well, Ace of the Thousand Corpses. I don't know if it's a bit of a surprise or not. Actually, comes at number 1 for me.
Okay.
This movie's brilliant, man. Sid Haig's as the clown's hilarious. Is brilliant, and Cheryl's always in his films. People have a problem with her. I think she's a fine actress. If I'm honest, I think she's a better actor than people give her credit for. Um, the, when I watch this film, it's sort of like I don't know how you feel about it. It gives me like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre sort of feel. I feel like it's definitely inspired by that. Like all his films are very much down and dirty and gritty, but love the imagery in this film, and I love the imagery in this film, and I love I forgot the old bloke's name, but he's hilarious, man. He was coming out with all the jokes, and
Oh,
Forgot his name.
His name's Finkel, or his real name is like Finkel, isn't it? Dennis Finkel.
Yeah, I think it is. I'm just getting it up.
It's Grandpa Hugo. Grandpa Hugo.
Yeah, it was. It's right. When it comes to Rob Zombie films, I'm not the best with the cast and that, so I will have to look it up. Obviously, you got Bill Moseley as well, who's brilliant as always. Yeah, you had Matthew McConaughey as Teeny. Like I say, I'll be honest, when it comes to Rob Zombie films, I know some of the actors, but I don't know them off by heart. So sometimes I will have to look like. But yeah, for me, House of a Thousand Corpses is his best film. There's something that comes close that's second, but we'll come to that when we get to it. But House of Thousand Corpses for me is it reminds me heavily of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with its own little twist. Obviously, like you got the family as well that's sadistic and yeah, man, I love the old bloke in it. He cracks me up. He's hilarious. So he comes out with all the stuff, and his wife Cheryl in this is just amazing. She's great. Like I say, I do believe she gets too much stick. She's a better actress than people give credit for. It's just because she's in all his films, but you know, the work together. Do you get what I mean? Nothing wrong with that. So
I agree.
And Sid Haig, man, like he is fantastic, man. And I'm really gutted that I'll never be able to meet him, man. I love Sid Haig and such. I never met him, but I've watched interviews with him and such a down to earth bloke. And yeah, man, him and the grandpa's my favourite people in this film. I think they're brilliant. So yeah, number one is House of a Thousand Corpses for me.
All right, well, that's I figured it'd be top. If I was guessing for you, I had it in the top 3. I probably had it at number 2 if I was going to be honest. I didn't have it at number 1, which is a little surprising. A little surprising. This is the movie for me that my opinion changed on it when I watched it the other day. Had this been 10, 15 years ago, this movie probably would have been number 1 for me. But given where I'm at now, even though the hat might tell you different, it's not number 1. It's actually at number 3 for me. And like I said, had it been several years ago, 10 years ago, it would have probably been number 1, number 2. I love almost everything about this film. I love the entrance, the opening scene with Sid and the gas station. I love the long shot of Walter Coogan's getting killed by Otis, like when he's got the gun at the barrel of his head, and it kind of just the camera pans out. I think that's one of my favorite kills in the movie, and that's just because it's so like drawn out and painful. You're like, was he gonna do it? Like, what's happening? I love Baby. I love Otis. I love Sid Haig. I love Karen Black. I think Tiny. Can't remember his name. What is his name? Matthew something. I know that.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey.
Everything about this film is fantastic until the last 15, 20 minutes of it. And then this is where my opinion changed on it. Like, the whole like underground zombie thing and like Dr. Satan, and while I like the character of Dr. Satan and I kind of like what they do with him in another movie, and here it really changed. Like, I loved it years ago, but as I've gotten older, it doesn't really make a bunch of sense. And it doesn't make a bunch of sense because if you consider the grand scheme of the trilogy, which we'll also we'll get into, it just doesn't fit. Like, that's like the one thing in the whole trilogy that doesn't really fit. And so that's why I have it at number 3.
I do understand that. I do understand that. It's like I say, it's like me. That has happened. If I'm honest with you, you're like, for example, like sometimes films will change, other times they won't. And yeah, rewatching House of a Thousand Corpses, it's never changed. There's 2 films that are, if I'm honest, like there's only 2 films in Rob Zombie's franchise that can change for me, but we'll get to that when it comes to it. But it's always between these 2 that never really change. So Yeah, but
Okay.
we'll get to that when we get to it. And I've got to say, I like your t-shirt as well, man.
Oh,
I've
thank
only
you.
just noticed what
Yep.
you're wearing. I
Yep.
like that.
Yeah. I don't have any.
I've got a twin to move the top as well.
I don't have any Rob Zombie like movie shirts, so this one had to do. But speaking to your point earlier, the wife and I had been fortunate to meet Sid a number of occasions. Uh, Sid is probably um was probably the sweetest dude you could ever meet. Um, he it got to the point that he kind of recognized us, but not like I wouldn't say like it was like, oh hey Sean, but he was just like, hey, how's it going, you know? And he was just a gentle soul. I actually have a picture him and I. He was in full Captain Spaulding makeup, and we got to do like a little photo op there. And then later on, he was like, "Hey, you know, make sure you come to this convention because I'm going to be doing Captain Spaulding as like a Christmas character, like dressed up as Santa." And just every time we talked to him, it was great. Always hit on my wife, always made jokes, always just kind of was just a genuinely sweet dude. And like when he hit on, he was only joking, obviously, but he was you know, he did it in the playful manner, and just a nice guy. And he's also nice to like he's nice to the fans too, because if you go to horror movie conventions, you realize right around the time The Walking Dead exploded, everybody started raising their prices as far as autographs go and pictures go. Sid was always $10. That's it. Doesn't matter what it was. He only charged $10, and he was like, "Hey, the fans have put me in the spot to be able to do this and to be able to do the things that I love, and this is how I kind of help repay him. Is you know keep the rates the same and not overinflate." And that was amazing. That was amazing.
Yeah, like I said, I never got to meet him, but I watched a lot of interviews and I watch a lot of, where like the fans can ask questions and he's always there. Like I've probably watched near enough all of them because like if it's an actor that I love, like Siddig, like I can sit there and watch him for hours just talking. Um, and I do remember him. I remember a Pacific interview where he actually was sort of digging out. He did say names, but he was digging out actors, talking about how he don't like people that act holier than you. He says because it's the fans that make us being able to have the job, and if it were for them being able to give us the pay, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. And he was sort of having like a dig at other actors that are like act holier than you. I don't know if you've seen that on YouTube, but he talks about it. Um,
No, I haven't.
yeah, it's really good, and he's done funny ones as well, man. He's been sitting there with like Kane Hodder in them, and there's Robert Eglund and everything. They're all talking about the careers, and it's brilliant, man.
I'll have to check that out because
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love
I'll
me
have
some
to try
Sid.
and find you the link.
I absolutely love me some Sid, so I would be watching that.
I'll find you the link, mate.
Yeah, yeah. Send it to me in DMs after this. That'd be great. The kind of speaking to a point that you brought up, this film does very much feel like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it actually has like killings, like obviously Texas Chainsaw Massacre kills, but these killings feel more brutal, and it definitely has that grainy, like dirty aspect that Texas Chainsaw had. Like even though the quality is great, it does like how am I trying to explain this? It does have that TCM vibe, and I that's one of the reasons why I adored this movie when it first came out.
Yeah. I mean, still though, I mean, you're putting it through. That's still pretty hard. You get what I mean? So
Yeah, yeah. And they are from Texas. Yep, Brooksville. By the way, Chad, I'm sorry I missed everything. Spawn is Dr. Satan because this morning my heart was missing.
let me guess, Symphonia.
Yeah, it was Sinfonia. Yeah, yeah, yep, Sinfonia. All right. Well, anything else you want to add to House of a Thousand Corpses other than I want to start doing this one piece bit here. I want to add a little trivia note. Uh, this was made right around the time that Rainn Wilson joined The Office. So it was made like maybe a year or two before The Office like blew up. So it's kind of nice seeing Rainn in this aspect, like doing the horror character and Dwight, and then you got Chris Hadwick, who's did the singled out dating thing on MTV, and then he was posed to The Talking Dead. And this was also fun for me too, because like if you're a fan of horror movies like we are, there are a lot of old school horror people in this movie, like Karen Black from the Trilogy of Terror and Bill Moseley from just almost any horror movie ever. Sid Haig, obviously. Who else? Tom Tolles from Henry.
So I'd love to know the conversations they all had with Rob Zombie, man.
Oh yeah, man, that'd have been great. Just being a fly on the wall, which I actually do have a fly on the
Yeah.
wall right now. But yeah, being a fly on the wall there and just listen to all that, it'd be amazing,
I'd
amazing.
love to have like an half-hour conversation with Rob Zombie, man. I find him fascinating, man. There's another interview that I've got to send you where I'll just send it here and you can watch it for yourself. It made my jaw drop, man.
Okay, all right. So now we are out to the next film in the series, or like I guess the works of Rob Zombie, and I believe that's Devil's Rejects, right? Yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, this one's a little easier for me. Devil's Rejects. Just going to cut right into it. Comes in at number one for me. I think this is his absolute best work. I think this tells everything about this movie is to me perfect. From the get go, from the opening scene to the closing scene, there isn't any time. It doesn't feel like there's any downtime that I kind of start getting bored and let my mind wander. It's just one of those movies that you put on, you watch it, and then next thing you know, it's over, and you're like, "Holy shit!" And then it's like 2 hours later. It is, it is great. It's a nice, it's a revenge tale for Sheriff Wydell, but it's also it also makes you kind of root for the bad guys. They're kind of like they kind of sort of flip the script a little bit and kind of become anti-heroes, even though that's not really correct, because there's definitely nothing anti-hero about them, but they are. I mean, they're pure villains in every sense of the word. But for some reason, I'm still like, hey, I want these people to live, and I want more of this. And with Sid, with everybody coming back except for Karen Black and Robert Bukes, who played Rufus in the first one. I think everybody came back that was alive, which was great. The only person that didn't come back was Karen Black. There was a little bit of a dispute between him and Rob Zombie as far as money goes, and they ended up bringing Leslie Easterbrook in to play Mama Firefly. But everybody being back in this, along with all of the staples of horror, Ken Foree, Brian Pacini, Danny Trejo, Jeffrey Lewis as Roy Sullivan, which I love. I think I said Ken Foree, William Forsythe. I did everything. This movie is nonstop action, and I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and I don't know that about the dispute. I don't know about that, mate.
Yeah, that's why Karen was not in it, and Leslie Easterbrook took her place.
Yeah, I honestly don't know that. So yeah, you learn something new every day. I don't have a clue. Right. Is there anything you want to add before I get into it, mate?
No, I'll get your rankings, and then we can talk about it more, because I feel like this was probably going to be a little bit of a topic conversation.
Well, Devil's Reject for me is straight in at number 2. This is the ones where I say, like, you could ask me in a year to do these again, and Devil's Rejects might be top. And then the year after, it might be House of a Thousand Corpses. This is one of them where it's like you can just keep interchanging. These are the two that never really change for me. They're either number 1 or number 2, and they have been for years. And every time for me, I know it's a bit different for you with House of a Thousand Corpses, but every time I watch these back to back, it's two films that you said it with Devil's Rejects, and for me, it works with House of a Thousand Corpses as well. It just your mind, I wonder, it's just you're stuck on it, and the films are finished within a flash, it feels like. And I've got to say, and he spoke a little about this as well, Rob Zombie, there's a whole lot of Charlie Manson in this. There's a whole lot, because anybody that knows that Rob Zombie, he's obsessed with serial killers. He's admitted it himself. He's always had like a fascination with it, and there's a whole lot of Charles Manson in this. His sayings, some of the kills you can look at with the Manson family back in the day, and it's again, man, it's the performances are just fantastic, and I love the whole again the feel of the film, and that scene where he's taking them. I can't remember, he's taking them somewhere, and he's gonna kill them, but he's doing it slow, and how he's like, oh, it's brutal, man. It's brutal. And the girl that's that one scene when I first seen this film, when I forgot her name, she's about to escape through the toilet.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, that to me, that little scene was acted so well. I was rooting for her, and when she died, man, it's one of the very rare times in an horror film where I felt gutted for one of the victims. I felt gutted for her. That don't happen often. Again, I don't want to sound like a psycho, but normally I'm one of them that I'm like enjoy like the mayhem of it. But for that scene, for some reason, I felt so bad. I wanted it to live. Just it was acted so well, and now she's like teasing her and rubbing her hair, and she's asking to go to the toilet, and she's tormenting him, his wife, Cheryl. So yeah, I'm with you on this, and like I say, you could ask me in a year, this could be number 1. A year after, it could be back to House of a Thousand Corpses. But these two never change. They're either first or second, and I can never ever quite make up my mind properly. But yeah, Devil's Rejects, I absolutely adore it.
Yeah, and you are spot on with the Manson references here. Even as my wife points out, Otis's line that "I am the devil, I'm here to do the devil's work." That was a kind of a quote spoken by one of the Manson, almost a quote, not verbatim, but spoken by one of the Tate family murders, or the Manson family murderers, like Tex Watson. So they was so yeah. I mean, this is highly influenced by Manson, and you could tell that almost from the get go.
Yep. And I don't know if you know. Well, you probably do now, because I could tell you're big on Rob Zombie and all. He actually made his own Charles Manson documentary.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's made his own Charles Manson documentary. Yeah, I forgot what it's called now. Again, I'll have to send you the trailers, because you ain't seen them. I'll send you the trailers, mate. And if you like the look of it, you can watch it. So I'll definitely send you the links. But yeah, he does his own take on the Charles Manson killings. Well, cult, because they really killed it. He mastermind behind it all. But yeah, he talks about it a lot, and it's an interesting take of his mind with Rob Zombie. It's fascinating, man. I think he's off his head all day, Rob Zombie. I do. He's nuts.
Yeah, I think he's definitely got he's definitely got a different mind than the rest of us. I think than a lot of people. I would say.
I'll tell you a little bit. Just 5 seconds in. This is how mad it is, and his mind's just unreal. He's doing an album, right? Rob Zombie is doing an album. He hears screams outside. the bloke got stabbed twice and he's running down, bleeding to death, screaming, "Help me." Rob Zombie shrugs his shoulders and goes back in and starts recording his music again.
I mean, that sounds about right, honestly.
Yeah. And he goes, and I think it was Joe Rogan who was doing the interview with him, and he goes, he says, "I'm used to it." He says, "That's America." so, so yeah, it's interesting type, man. He's nuts, man.
Sherry Moon has a nice booty. That is correct. That is actually a fact. uh, yeah, this is so like everything about this film. Why haven't one? The opening scene, the house, the raid, Sheriff Wydell's obsession with the Firefly family. Obviously, for these two movies are connected. It's the sequel to House of 1,000 Corpses, and Sheriff Wydell is the brother of Tom Tolles' character, the Deputy Wydell that gets killed by Mama Firefly in the first one. And the hotel scene, the scene with Otis taking him out to the desolate area to dig up the weapons, Captain Spaulding's dark turn from like just a jovial clown to hey, he's actually part of this, and he's not the nice clown. He's, to the almost Sheriff Wydell's almost redemption, where he almost gets his revenge, and to the end scene, the car, Freebird's playing, and then fades to black. It's just all perfect. I absolutely love this film.
And I do think the sheriff in this film brilliant as well, man. And how he kills their mom, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's a kill and a half, man. Jesus.
Yeah, little sadistic, and I like it. As you say, I like it.
Yeah, I like it. I got that from Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I remember he saying that on stream the other day. This was so another thing which I love about Rob Zombie's movies is, like I talked about in House of 1,000 Corpses, how he always brings the horror staples, so to speak, to his films. This one's got Ken Foree, Danny Trejo, Brian Pachine, Michael Berryman, Tom Tolles again, William Forsythe. Unfortunately, last film for Matthew McGrory, R.I.P. Also has Elizabeth Daily in this movie, which is funny to me because before The Devil's Rejects, E.J. Daly was, I think, the voice of Tommy in Rugrats, and she's a voice of one of the Powerpuff Girls. So, like, that's where I know her from. So to see her, kind of be like this dark, like this not great, prostitute, was like, whoa, you're Tommy Pickles. What are you doing?
I ain't gonna lie, I did not know she done them voices, and yet the Powerpuff Girls I want some add-on, but the Rugrats I loved.
Yeah, she
absolutely loved the Rugrats.
She was Buttercup in the Powerpuff Girls, and then the Rugrats, she's Tommy Pickles for sure. So, but she does like a lot of voiceover work, which is crazy because I think she's a fantastic actress, and it's great. Oh yeah, PJ Souls is in this too. Little Halloween reference there. She's in it as well. Thank you for pointing that out. Well, yeah, this is if I were to recommend a horror movie to anybody that's never seen a horror movie before, and they're like, "Hey, I want to get into horror. What would you recommend?" This is almost at the top of the list.
Yeah. I have my own list. Like, if somebody had like Devil's Rejects, definitely there. Now, giving somebody like to get into horror, probably have to do that on a stream or something to recommend like new people getting into horror films, like maybe 10 films to get them into it. I think that would be an interesting take as well, because I've got a few. I think pretty much has to be the same near enough.
Yeah. And Twitch is doing that thing again with the numbers. I don't know what's going on with that.
I noticed that the other day with on stream as well, man. It's I don't know what's going on with it. Normally, when this is happening, I said it before. It's like they're doing stuff behind the scenes, ready for an update. I mean, I could be wrong, but that's how it normally seems to go.
Yeah, like I know Ego's here, I know Sinfonia's here, I know my wife is here, I know I'm here, but the numbers are off. That's weird. Anyway, not gonna worry about it. We're just gonna have fun, and then we'll see what the views are later.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything you want to add to this? Because to me, it's funny too. Because Rob Zombie, when it comes to horror, he has what I feel to be a god tier horror movie, and then he has the sad task of having what I think is the fucking absolute shit ass movie ever made. So he's definitely on the there is no middle ground
In
when it comes to,
between.
yeah, like, because it's funny,
There's no
like
in between.
like the movie there's
no
eight
in between.
no there's none there's 8 movies that we're doing. 7 of those are far superior than the 8th film, which if you watched one of our podcasts before, you're gonna know, or vodcast, you already know the answer. But we I don't know how much time we'll spend on it either, since we've already talked about it, and we both hate that movie. But
Yep. I doubt we'll ever talk about his film, but so I'll go into it. The only film I hate more than Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is Jaws 4.
yeah,
I
yeah,
hate Jaws 4.
yeah. I'm with you on that. It's just for me. It's just Jaws, and that's the only movie I really care for. I bet you I can guess the last 2 for both of you. Okay, go ahead. I want you to. Obviously, you're gonna know the last one for us, but I'd be interested to see what you think my number 7 is and what his number 7 is. I'd be interested in hearing that. But all right, we are at number 3 now. If you don't have anything to add to Rob Zombie's films here, and I believe that's actually Halloween, isn't it?
Is it Halloween?
I think it's Halloween. Let's see, in order.
No. Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Oh, you got.
What year did Finger come out now? The Devil's Rejects.
What's that?
Rob Zombie's Halloween come out in 2007. When did Devil's Rejects come out now?
2005.
Yeah, it is. It is Halloween then. It is. It's me starting 8.
All right, so my wife thinks my wife thinks Lords of Salem is going to come in at number 7 for us, and I'm going to say that she's wrong about You. I don't think, knowing what I know and giving the subject matter of Lords of Salem, I think you're going to rank it higher than number 7.
I won't say anything.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that. But
I won't say
all
anything.
right, we are now at 2007's Halloween film. It's Halloween remake.
Yep. It's me to go 8. You went last time, I believe.
Yep.
So for me, Halloween comes in at number 4 for me.
Okay.
Now this is a fine remake. I do enjoy this remake a hell of a lot. I mean, Tyler Main's a beast as Michael Myers, and you know, Sherry, of course, again plays her part perfect as she needed to. I agree that a lot of people's problems with this film, we touched on it before, is we understand why Michael Myers is the way he is, but you can't keep doing the same thing. And it sort of shows you a glance into his mindset, like how messed up he is with killing animals and all that stuff, and how he slices his was it his dad or stepdad's throat now at the start?
Yeah.
In the middle. That's brutal. So and yeah, again, another little factor that I loved. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but Brad Dourif being in the film as well.
Yep.
They've done the voice should people now, in case you day. And yeah, I love this film. And for me, I do like I mean, look, I prefer Michael Myers not knowing why he does what he does. I like the mystery of him and hiding in the shadows. But for what this film wanted to do, Rob Zombie got it spot on. And like I said, I like it being able to go into the mind of Michael Myers as a kid and seeing how messed up he is. And then there's actually a kid that deserved the beating he was getting because how he was talking about his mom.
Oh yeah.
And you know, how he first puts the mask on and he looks so evil with his hair, and he puts the mask on, bashing his head in. By the way, my sister will kill me if she heard this, but I used to call my sister Michael Myers because when she was a kid, she used to look like Michael Myers when she was a kid. You know, the young yeah. She'd kill me if she heard that, but I used to call her Michael Myers and it used to wind her up.
Oh. So did you say you had this one at number 4, huh?
And sorry, Matt, I mean to.
No, you said you had this one at number 4.
Yeah, I've got it's at number 4, yeah, okay. And I love the prison scene where he's like, I've said it before, where he's like, Michael, I helped, and it's just like, come on, dude, he's Michael Myers, he's going to tear you apart, and I love the brutality of this film, and I think this is a fine remake.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think we actually agree together on this because I also have this at number 4.
Okay.
It's I agree. Tyler Mane, like he's pointed out, is an absolute beast. You know, we've kind of already talked about this, but you know, Tyler Mane is a beast. I think Dig Farrick, who plays a young Michael, I think he does a fantastic job. And I believe the first 2/3 of this movie is some of the best Halloween material that we get. It's a good story, good character development. You know, him showing his progress to who he becomes, and then ultimately the evil, you know, the shape where he's, you know, doesn't talk. How Danny Trejo, his character Ismail, you know, spends, you know, almost Michael Myers' whole life like helping him in the hospital, but even that doesn't matter because he just brutally murders Mikey. You know, he's Michael's killing him. He's like, Mikey, no, remember me? Like that's just all great. Like that's how Michael is. Michael's supposed to be like this brutal killing machine, and them showing that with the kills and the lack of empathy and the lack of remorse and caring about anything is amazing. I just think the last third of it just feels rushed, and that's why it ranks a little lower. Because I feel if they would have done more, like stretched the movie out maybe 20 minutes longer, and kind of really hashed out the ending a little bit better, it could have ranked way higher. But you know, this is another instance of Rob Zombie knowing the material, adding his own element to it, like, you know, that whole white trash kind of like dumpster people, you know, kind of vibe, but you know, but paying homage to the original, which is nice.
Yeah, and the thing is with Rob Zombie as well that I like about it is he's actually obsessed with horror films in real life. Like, I don't know if you know this, he in a little interview he done as well, that he owns enough every horror film that's ever made. Yeah, like he has his own, like it's almost like a library with every single horror film that's existed, and he says it's his obsession that he collects every single one. He's even spoke about it. He says all the money that he makes goes back out on buying horror figures and horror stuff and all the horror Blu-rays and VHSs and 4Ks now. And he says it's his obsession that he collects every single one he's got, and his collection, I'm jealous as hell because it's like a library. Imagine a library, it's all books, but It's just horror films. That is it.
Yeah, that would be nice. Like I remember watching his house on MTV Cribs like years ago, and how I was like, hey, that's how I want to live. That looks fantastic.
Yeah. So I do love that with Rob Zombie that, you know, the films that they're coming from are going to have passion behind them. So you at least know that normally you're going to get at least a decent movie with Rob Zombie.
Yeah, I would say I would say almost 90% of the time you're going to get a really decent movie
Yeah.
out of him. You know, which is good because I mean I love Rob Zombie's music and I love his work, and I think that this list is really really good at kind of explaining that. I feel he's a great filmmaker who knows his knowledge and knows his passion of horror, and shows that in almost everything that he makes. And I know we kind of touched about it before, but again, this is just Rob Zombie doing what he does, kind of bringing the standard horror actors into his movie. That one of the better types of casting I really like is Malcolm McDowell as Sam
Yeah.
Loomis. Um, I'm a huge Clockwork Orange fan, so I love Malcolm McDowell. Uh, Alex will always be just one of those interesting characters to me, which we might end up talking about one day. Excuse me. Then you got Tyler Mane, Brad Dourif, as you said, the voice of Chucky. William Forsythe returns, and flashbacks. No, he's not. No, not flashbacks. William Forsythe is the stepdad that gets his throat slit in the beginning.
Yeah.
Uh,
I remember his name.
yeah, my boy Uda Kier's in this movie. If you guys don't know Uda, he's a great actor, great actor. Lou Temple, Danny Trejo, Tom Tolles again, Bill Moseley, Leslie Easterbrook's in it for again. I mean, he brings back just about everyone. Danielle Harris, which we talked about before.
Yeah.
Danielle Harris from Halloween 4 and 5 is now Annie in Halloween here. And I just
He's amazing, man.
yeah, I love the casting and the acting. Like like him and Tyler Mane and Ken Foree fighting in the bathroom stall. That was great. Love that scene.
Yeah.
Love that scene.
Yeah. Knocking on the door.
Right? Knocking on the door. Yep. All right. Well, I know we kind of touched on it before, so I don't really have too much more to add to this. Anything you want to add?
No. Honestly, I just like I say, it's definitely one of the better remakes out there.
Yeah.
Definitely better remakes.
So that. God damn, that means I gotta go first for this one. Oh, so that means we're up to the 2009 Halloween 2, the sequel to Halloween 1. And this should be no fucking surprise, but this movie is dead last, not only in my Rob Zombie film series discussion, but dead last in every fucking movie ever made, period, for the rest of time, period. Trash movie, period. I know we've talked about it. I don't know if I want to go. I don't know if I want to go down that path of self hatred again and do a deep dive, but I don't. The kills are brutal in this movie, and that's the only positive thing I have to say. I don't know what he's trying to do here in this movie. I don't. I understand the symbolism. I understand like the concept of symbolism. I don't know what he is necessarily trying to symbolize here. And then yeah, just watch our Halloween vodcast where we rate these movies, and you'll get a better understanding of why I hate this. I don't want to do this to myself again.
Yeah, okay. Look, this film sucks. Let's have now thinking about it. This film sucks, and like I say, when it comes to, I mean, I can admit to people now, like there's a lot of films that I like that are bad, but because I can admit when it comes to entertaining me with horror, it doesn't take a lot. I need a good killer and good kills. If I like the killer and the kills are creative and I like them, there's a lot of gore. They normally can win me over if it's one of the worst acted films out there. It's all I ask in films is to be entertained. Now, the weird thing is with Halloween 2 Rob Zombies is I get that, but I still hate this film. I hate it. Rubbish. Now, you, I The Rob Zombie films and of the whole Halloween franchise, this is the worst one. I think you hate it more than me because you says this is your worst film, period. For me, that still belongs to Jaws 4. So it doesn't quite take that spot. But yeah, man, this movie sucks and there's not a lot I can add. I never want to be able to watch this film again. Somebody could get to me and say, watch Halloween 2, Rob Zombies, and I'll give you £1,000. And you probably think I'll be like, yes, I'll do it, but I still want to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Movie sucks.
I don't think I will ever watch that movie again. The only way I would do that would be for some sort of financial gain. And I don't think I think it would have to be significant because you are correct. That movie, production wise, everybody can say stuff about certain movies like this is the worst movie ever made, and to be fair to the art directors and the props and the set designs and everything like that, no, this isn't the worst movie ever made. But far as plot goes and story and character arcs and everything, this makes me want to put a bullet in my fucking head. And I know that's fucking terrible to say, but I will never forget watching this movie the first time. I had a group of 10 people. We all went to the movie theater. We were so happy. We had the whole row of seats taken up. And we could not wait. And by the time that movie ended, I think all of us wanted to go drinking and like go out to eat afterwards and whatnot. And when the movie ended, I think literally most of us would just went home and like went to bed and like didn't do anything. Like it was just it killed the entire evening. It just terrible. So
yeah, there's nothing worse than a film that it bores me.
It does what? Sorry, I was.
It bores me. This film does. There's nothing worse than a film. You can have a bad film that's entertaining. Batman and Robin, for example, it's bad but it entertains me. When you got a bad movie that's not even entertaining, apart from a few good kills, the film's brutal, but even that don't save it for me. And I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to horror films. It pretty much says how bad it is.
Yeah, I mean, you said yourself, if it's got violent kills, you're in most of the time, and this movie has violent kills, and it just doesn't do it. Like it just, So if this ever blows up, and when this goes on YouTube, and if this ever blows up, know that the art director and the prop master, and everybody involved, even like the sound guys, like when I say this is the worst movie, I'm not shitting on anybody's work. I'm shitting on Rob Zombie's idea, and I understand that my wife pointed out that Rob Zombie didn't really want to do the sequel to this, but then when the studio was gonna go ahead and do it, he signed on because he didn't want his vision ruined. Spoiler alert, he fucked up his own vision, and this is a fucking fucking trash can movie. And yeah.
Yeah. I agree. This is, again, it's how people are these days. Like, let's face it, man, you can't have an opinion these days without offending somebody, and it always confuses me that people get offended over opinions. And it's like, whenever I hate a film, it's never like proper grief or anger towards the directors or anything. It's just the film itself. Like, it's their jobs. They've got to keep doing what they're doing to put food on the table. That's great, but it's just like people like me and you were allowed our opinions on films. I mean, I'm sure there's people out there. I know one person who likes Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Yeah, I know 2 or 3 that really love the film. I know 2 or 3 that love it.
I know one, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's just, I don't want to go off topic, but I think it's just today's generation. Everybody's offended by anything.
Agreed. Agreed. All right, so now, because I certainly don't want to spend any more time on this fucking this fucking movie. Due to his miserable experience working with the Weinsteins on the Halloween films, Rob Zombie has disowned them, especially this one in particular, which according to him had the worst studio interference. I mean, that could be why it sucks, maybe, but I don't know. Maybe. I heard the director's cut's better, but even the director's cut, I'm still. I don't know. I own a director's cut. I should watch it, but I don't know. I might. I probably won't, though.
There's. I don't care what version of film this comes out on. I don't want to watch it. I'm done.
Oh. All right, so we're moving on to another film he released. Halt, I've arrived. Everybody, please bow to our new Elden Lord. It's Jim C in the chat. Who, just real quick, shout out to him for beating Elden Lord the other day. Hoggers. But we are now moving on to the haunted world of El Super Beasto. I know you haven't seen this one. I'll go ahead and take this one too first, since
Okay.
I do like this movie, which comes in at number 6 for me. This is an adult animated film that was written and produced and I believe directed by Rob Zombie, but he used this comic book guy to make the film, and this is a fun film. I mean, it is a I'm not huge on comic book, or not. I shouldn't say comic book because I'm a huge comic book nerd. I'm not a huge cartoon movie guy. Like I'll watch them, but like I'd much rather watch real action movies and real horror movies and stuff. But this you gotta do here. I got you. Hold on one second. There we go. Where was I going with this? It kind of continues the narrative from House of a Thousand Corpses because it does have a Dr. Satan in the movie, and it's a plot for Dr. Satan who is essentially trying to take over what's I believe Monster World in the movie, and has his wife Sherry Moon as Susie X. It's got Tom Papa as El Super Beasto, which both those two characters are great. Paul Giamatti, I'm a huge fan of Paul Giamatti. He's actually the voice of Dr. Satan in this movie. It's got Rosario Dawson, Brian Pasheen, Dee Wallace, Ken Foree, Jeffrey Lewis, Lou Temple, Danny Trejo, Cassandra Peterson, aka Elvira. All these people that he's worked with in the past come back and voice these various actors or various characters. I think it's a fun film. I don't really think there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. It's just I'm not a huge cartoon movie guy.
Right, okay, like I said, I've never seen it. I've watched clips and I've seen the trailer, and I'm safe to say I'll probably like it because I can watch like cartoon adult films. Like I'm a massive fan of it. Totally different because it's obviously all related, but I love South Park. I love Family Guy, stuff like that. Batman the animated series.
Oh yeah, yeah. I watched the Batman
brilliant.
episode. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. And so for me, I've never seen it, but I know for a fact, for me, this would be at number 7.
Okay, that's fair. Actually, I mean,
I've got it at number 7.
For any future comments that show up in the YouTube video here, let me just point out that even though he hasn't seen the film, it doesn't matter. Like 7 is a good rating here, and it's going to beat Halloween 2 because that movie is a fucking trash can.
Yeah, it's going to be better than Halloween 2. Definitely. So yeah, I ain't seen it, but I thought it's better than Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Yeah,
I know
100%.
that's a fact. So yeah, I ain't got much to add to it. I've seen clips, and I like the look of it. I like the feel of it, and like I say, I do like it because actually one of my favourite animated films was Beavis and Butthead Do America.
Yep.
That's brilliant. I love that. So I think I'd enjoy this, but I think even when I watch it, it'd still sit at number 7.
That's fair. That is that's a fair rating, and chat and comments and YouTube, we're going to allow it just because Halloween 2 is so bad. It's just allowed. He's allowed to rate this higher than Halloween 2, and he hasn't even seen it.
I'd rank Powerpuff Girls over Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
Oh yeah.
The only film that will not get higher ranked than it is, I'll tell you actually, I'm not going to say, I don't want to spoil it because I've just thought of an idea. We need to do our 10 top worst horror films we've ever seen in our lives.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. We can definitely do that.
And I already know about 8 off already. Seriously.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. All right. Well, I don't spend too much on time on that because I'm the only one that's seen it, and I think it's a good movie. You watch it if you love animated shows or animated movies. It's got comedy, it's got violence, it's got all that good stuff. It's got sexy cartoons doing sexy cartoon things. So, all
and I love Elvira. So
yeah. I mean, it's great. It's great.
I'll definitely watch it.
All right. So now we're up to the one that I'm interested to see here. And I'm going to let you go first on this one because I've taken the last two. The Lords of Salem. Now, I know you. I know the things that you like to study, and granted, this isn't your belief structure per se. I feel that this movie is going to rate at number 3 for you. My wife thinks it's going to come at number 7, which isn't the case here because it's obviously El Super Beasto. But for me, I think you're going to rate this at number 3.
Right. No, I do like this film a hell of a lot, though. It actually comes in at number 5.
Number 5. Okay. All right.
So, now, I do like this film a lot because, how can I put this? This film is everything that I'm interested in. It's everything that I'm into. For people that don't know, like, I've been into like occult stuff and satanic stuff since I was a little kid, and it all stemmed from. I'm not going to get into it too much because we're on about Rob Zombie films, but it all actually stemmed from Kane, the wrestler, when I was a kid, and I was a little kid, and the flames went, the lights went out, flames come up, and he was like. I was a kid. I thought he was actually from hell, and I was like, "Oh my god, this dude's from hell, and he's satanic and everything." And as a little kid, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And then as I got older, I got into occult stuff and everything, and then like Satanism and everything. That's always been my go-to stuff. And I've got the books there. I've got like Baphomets and everything. I'm obsessed with that sort of stuff. That's why I've got like the symbols all over my neck and my hands. I love that sort of stuff. So this film touches on all that. So when I was watching this film, I felt like this film was made for me, and I love it. I eat it up every time with the song, and everybody's going insane because of the song, and then you got the old satanic thing going on. And yeah, I've watched this film a lot, and I like this film a lot, man. I really do like it, and it nearly took the 4th spot over Halloween, but I thought I can't just give it that because of the whole occult thing and the satanic thing. I thought I can't do it than that because Halloween's a better movie than this, but I still think Lords of Salem's a good film. But for me, I love the subject matter here, and it's something that just touches with me because I've been fascinated with that sort of stuff since I was a little kid. Like, I went to school at a young age with pentagrams all over my library and everything. Do you get what I mean? Like, everywhere I had it all over and everything, and heavy metal helped as well, and stuff. And Anton LaVey, I don't know if you know Anton LaVey.
Yep.
You know him. He's a big influence on me. I love Anton LaVey, and I've got all his books behind there. And before Symphonia comes in and ruins my day, I know she's got more than me. She always reminds me. So yeah, I like his film. It's a better film than people give it credit for, in my opinion. Am I a little biased to it because of the old occult stuff and the old satanic thing going on? Yes, because that's the sort of stuff that I love. But, overall, I don't think this is a bad film, and I enjoy it a hell of a lot. So yeah, Lords of Salem for me is at number 5. So yeah, and I like Cheryl's performance, and of course you got Gen 4E in this as well. So
yeah.
so I enjoy this film.
Satanism is kind of I don't know how it is in like other countries, but here in America, people like to, and I won't get too deep into this, but like people like to preach Christianity and like Christian values, but there seems to be like this stigmata where like Satanism is like, devil worshiping and baby killing and like sacrifices and bloodletting and all that other stuff, and
Yeah.
that's like so far from the truth. It's almost comical. Actually, it is comical. Uh, you know, so it's funny. It's kind of funny, the stigmata around all that stuff, but at the same time, um, it's not, because I know, like, you have to deal, this almost on a daily basis. So I don't know, like I said, how it is in other countries, but um, which is also why I'm surprised that this movie ranked in at number 5 for you. I could have sworn it would have been at number 3, based off our current list, and I probably would have had it higher if this is the one we started with. But so why'd you? So what of this film, before I give my ranking? Um, what about this for you made it at number 5? Like, what didn't you like about it?
Right. You see what it is like. I pretty much enjoy all the film, but there's part of the film where I'm like waiting for something to happen. When I watch this, so that's the reason. Like I say, I do think it's a good movie, but there's just parts of the films that I just feel like is not necessary. Like I wanted it to be. I'm going to sound like a complete sicko here, but I wanted it to be more satanic. Like I wanted to see like proper like give the satanic route that people think it is, because you've already clapped on it. Satanism's not about bloodletting, it's not about devil worship, it's actually all about, it's a philosophy actually, I'm going to get in, but it's actually about self-worship and believing in yourself. That's the old philosophy of
Yeah, yeah.
Satanism. And so I wanted Rob Zombie to push the envelope even more with the old satanic panic thing, and like literally just like gut people and drown them of their blood and like put it into the devil and everything. So I just wanted more of that. I wanted him to push the envelope even more, which is why it come at number 5 for me. But like I say, I still like this film a lot. Like I've watched this film a hell of a lot. I even like the song that goes on and on, and everybody changes. So I think it's a good movie. Now, number 3, I don't know if it'll shock you. I'm not going to get into it, but there's a certain film of Rob Zombie's that I love nearly as much as The Devil's Rejects, but I still love Lords of Salem, and it's at number 5. I nearly put it at number 4, like I say, but I can't just put it at number 4 because of a subject matter, when I think Halloween overall is a better movie than Lords of Salem, but I still find it entertaining. If it pushed the envelope just a little bit more, it could have beat it for me.
Yeah, my wife says in the chat, she says the subject really wasn't the problem for me. It was just really slow. She agrees. She agrees 1,000% that she felt like she was always waiting for something. Um, and she she said it needed to pick a decade. Like, she didn't know if it was a 1970s film or like a 2000s film. Um, I don't know if I necessarily had that problem, but I understand where she's coming from. Like, when she expressed the question or concern about what decade or what time period is the like the current part going, like Sherry's part. Like, obviously the 1600s with the witches, like we established that, but like Sherry's part, and like when she said it out loud, like I understood it, but it wasn't something I really thought of until she brought it up. But all right, well, for me then, she thinks I also have this ranked at number 7, and she's correct. I do. I have this ranked at number 7, simply because the point that you touched on, I always feel like I'm waiting for something. It's a great story. It's it the subject matter doesn't bother me. I think everybody does a fantastic job. Meg Foster is amazing. I love Meg Foster, and I think she's great in this. Bruce Davison, I love Bruce Davison. Sherry Moon is fantastic, because most of the time it's just her acting with like her body, like her emotions. She doesn't really say a whole lot, so she for what she does really well. Ken Foree being in it again is great. It doesn't. It, it just seems like there's something missing, and maybe there's a cut out there that I'm unaware of, but it just feels like it's a little too quick to get to point A to point B, but it doesn't really tell anything about how we get to point A to point B to point C necessarily. Like I know eventually, really, it tells us the story that Meg is, or Meg Foster's character, which is, um, she's the lead witch in the coven, the lead Lord of Sam. Can't remember, but it explains it, but I don't know. It doesn't explain. Like, it doesn't really explain to me like how they know Sherry's character is a descendant of Hawthorne, and well, it tells about the curse of the witch put on everybody as she was dying. It doesn't really go into her ultimate resurrection, how it's perceived in the end of the film as well. There's just a lot of speculation, a lot of left your own imagination, and I think when you're telling a story, which is a good story like this, it doesn't really do the job right.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why it's at number 5 for me. It's because that's what I mean. I can't rank it higher just because of subject matter. Like I wanted him to push the envelope, and it's the only Rob Zombie film I can think of where it's like I say, I keep waiting for something to happen, and it entertains you for a little bit, and then it goes slow, and then it's like where your mind wanders sometimes. It's just like I'm getting bored of this, and then that's how the film is for me. I'll be entertained, and then I'll be a little bored, and then halfway through the film, it'll get me excited again, and it's how can I explain it? It's hard to explain. I don't know what analogy I can use to say it. It's I've got one which is very dumb and stupid, but this is how I see this film. It never gives you quite the punchline. It's like bringing a woman back home thinking something's going to happen. You go out to get her a drink, you come back in, and she's fucked off and gone home.
Yeah, yeah. The climax for the movie is very anticlimactic. Yeah. It's very
yeah.
This build up, and it's allegedly this mass suicide, or perhaps it's a homicide or whatever. But it just shows the birth of, I'm assuming that's Satan.
It's probably,
yeah. So like, I mean, the birth of Satan, and then Sherry's just on top of these corpses, and then like that's it. Like, so that was the whole build up. Like, what happens now? Is the world over? Is Armageddon happening? Like what?
We never got the answer. That's the thing for me. Like I say, I can watch this film, but it's the only film that I just feel like I keep waiting for something to happen, man, and it pulls me in, and sometimes it'll pull me out, and then it'll pull me back in, and it'll pull me out, and it'll pull me back in, and it's like I say, with this subject matter, he could have really gone all in on the subject matter, but he never quite did. So yeah, that's why for me, I understand why it's number 7 for you. I think the subject matter makes it a little bit higher for me, just because it's what I'm into and I love that sort of stuff. So, but yeah, I couldn't rank it any higher than that because it's not better than Halloween, it's not better than Devil's Rejects, and it's not better than House of a Thousand Corpses. So, I couldn't. It stays at number 5 for me. I think it's a fair rating for me.
I got you. Well, anything else you want to add?
No, I think I've covered it. Like I say, it's the only Rob Zombie film I can think where you just keep waiting for something to happen. And I hate them sort of films that pull you in a little bit, and then you get excited, and then you get bored for a little bit, and then it pulls you back in. It's one of them.
All right. Well, to me, I'll add one thing. Today I watched Lords of Salem. I watched this before we started this, and that was the first time I ever watched it. Because this was the very first movie for me that came after Halloween 2. And Halloween 2 really did a number on me, and I didn't want anything to do with Rob Zombie for a while. Did not want to watch any of his movies. Didn't want to do anything. So I kind of skipped this one and then forgot about it until
Yeah.
we kind of start talking about it. Like I always see it in the background. I always know about it, but today was the first day that I actually watched it, and uh, like I said, interesting. But I just wish it would be. Yeah, I RavenEAP had PTSD from Halloween 2, 1,000%, 1,000%. I really hope 31 ranks higher for you guys. Like I said, top 8 worst horror movies are Halloween 2.
Yep.
Well. Speaking of 31, if you have nothing else to add for Lords of Salem, we are now on to 31. And since I went twice in a row, I'm gonna let you take this one.
31 for me ranks at number 3.
All right.
This film's brilliant, and you've got what's his name? 2 secs. Richard Brake, who plays Doomed. I had to Google it, then I forgot. Richard Brake, who Doomed, is fantastic in this film, and for me, I love the almost. It kind of reminds me of The Condemned, based in a horror film. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen The Condemned by Stone Cold?
Yep.
Fantastic film. I don't know about you, but it gives me that vibes just in a horror setting.
Yeah, I can feel that. Yeah.
That's what I get from it. And yeah, you got the little Nazi dude, the little one that's brilliant in it, is hilarious.
That's Sickhead, isn't it? Yeah, Sickhead.
Yeah, and then of course you got Cheryl in it as well, Sherry Moon, and this film's just. I don't know what it's about. It's, I don't know if this film's meant to make you laugh, but it cracks me up. It just makes me laugh. And then you've got him, Richard Brake. I love his performance, and he's like pouring his white face on, and he's smashing his head against the window and wipes the blood all over it. And I'm just like, this is a film again that's entertains the life out of me. It doesn't stop. I'm never bored through this film, and now many times I watch it, and it's like I like the clowns in it. They're brilliant in it. The clowns are fantastic, and this film's if I had to explain it, it's like fun mayhem, and like it helps that like I love The Condemned. I think it's a great movie, and like I say, for me, it is The Condemned based in a horror setting, and I just love how they get took out one by one, and the kills are brutal in this, and like I say, man, that scene's just mental, man. Like. How he calls him in last to get the last killings done because everybody else has died, and he's just bashing his head off the mirror, and he's just wiping the blood all over his eyes and his face and everything. And this is what I wanted Lords of Salem to be. He pushed the envelope in this film. It was mental, like smashing his head off against his nose against the sink, I believe it was, and then just wiping all the blood all over him. Rob Zombie really goes for it in this film, and I love it when he really goes for it. So for me, yeah, I call this The Condemned of horror films because that's what it is to me. It's The Condemned in a horror setting, just more sick kills and brutal kills.
Yeah.
It's at number 3 for me.
I agree with you. Sinfonia says she is so happy you have this ranked at number 3. Says you must marry this man now. My wife says poggers. Jim C says is it bad? I've never watched any of these besides Halloween. Absolutely not. Especially if you're not deep into horror. If you like horror movies, I suggest watching the first 7 of these. And I will say that you should start with The Devil's Rejects, and then for me it would be 31 in at number 2. I think 31 is 31 is everything that I want in a horror movie and then some, as far as I want violent kills, I want creepy, weird characters, I want a plot that it doesn't need to be over the top, but it needs to be able to be somehow doable and plausible. Like, and it does that in a sense that 31's held in like this off the beaten path area, and it's run by these stereotypical powers that be, so to speak, that run it, and they bring in they bring in the various heads, sick head, psycho head, schizo head, death head, and sex head, and then ultimately doom head. And I knew immediately this film I was going to love it when Richard Brake, aka Doomhead, is sitting face to face with the guy he's got tied to the chair, and he starts his dialogue just about you know everything in life and like death, and it's Richard Brake is probably one of the most underrated horror actors out there right now. I don't I love him in this. I loved him in another movie. We'll talk about. I loved him in just everything that man does. I think he is gold, and for me, him as Doomhead in this is great. And there's something. This is probably going to sound perverse, but there's really something crazy hot about E.G. Daily, again, the voice of Tommy Pickles and Buttercup from Powerpuff Girls. But there's something very perverse and sexy about her character, Sexhead, that is intriguing, and it's interesting. And the whole movie, all the characters are great. I think Pancho Muller's sickhead, the little Nazi dude.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's hilarious.
like it's a Rob Zombie film, so he's gonna have some sort of Nazis, stereotype or whatever. But like, just a little dude dressed in the Nazi garb. It's like, all right, this is great. Like, obviously I'm not behind the obviously the concept of Nazis or either the ideology, but this is the little dude. He comes out with it. He just comes out dressed as a Nazi. And just this little dude running across the street. And you're like, what? But yeah, you're right. Richard Brake, Doomhead, he's one of my favorite bad guys in horror movies. He's uh, absolutely great. And like you pointed out before, essentially at this point now, Rob Zombie's just making films with like his friends. He's got E.G. Daily again. He's obviously his wife Sherry, Jeff Daniels, who was in The Lords of Salem. I don't know if he was in anything prior to that with him, but Meg Foster, who was in Lords of Salem. Michael McDowell's back. Michael McDowell's playing Horatio something murder. He's essentially one of the archetypes that kind of makes 31 happen. Ginger Lynn, who was in Devil's Rejects. I don't think Ken Foree's in this one.
I don't believe he is.
I don't think he is, but it's a fun movie. It is just a fun, brutal movie with weird ass characters that I'm like, hey, that's fantastic. I'm probably going to watch it later tonight.
It's weird you've said that because I'm watching it tonight again.
Yeah,
I am. I'm watching it tonight again. I'm so glad that you've said that about Richard Brake because he is one of the most underrated horror actors of all time. Every film I see him in is spot on, and his performance in this is just fantastic. And I'm surprised that you don't see 31 talked about as much.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe because it's got that stigmata that it was crowdfunded and not like studio produced, and but I mean the reason it was crowdfunded, it was because he wanted. There's when you're making a big budget like production movie, like a studio movie, there are certain rules and certain things you can't do because no one's going to pay you $30 million to make, essentially a snuff film. So there's certain things that you, you can't do. So we crowdfunded a portion of the budget to get around kind of the censorship of the movie studios and made 31, which again, I'm kind of glad he did because this is a brutal film with fucking crazy ass characters and great kills, and it is disappointing that when you talk Rob Zombie films, this isn't one that a lot of people talk about.
Yeah, and I've got to say, like, I'm I'm sorry, like to me, 31 is up there with Devil's Rejects and House of a Thousand Corpses for me. It's one of his better movies. It's to me, it's one of the better movies out there when it comes to horror. I've, I would say everybody's entitled to their opinion, but what's wrong with people? Like some people, literally, you've said it, won't watch this film just because it's crowdfunded. Why do people care? As long as you like the film,
Yeah,
it's like I ain't gonna go off on one, but this is how stupid this sounds to me, right? I know people in the UK, not saying any names because they annoy me, right? But and they know they annoy me. It's I've never understood this take with people. Shouldn't you watch stuff because you enjoy it? I know people that won't watch football or soccer, as I know you call it soccer in the US, right? Because of how much footballers get paid. In the same way, some people will watch Rob Zombie's film 31 because it was crowdfunded. Why the hell do you care as long as you like the film? Why do you care how it's made or why it's made? I don't understand the thought. It's like I don't care why it's made, how it's made. If I like it, I like it. I don't understand people's things with it. I don't understand. I don't get it.
yeah, and I'm with you. Like a lot of people consider like crowdfunding as sort of like internet panhandling. Like just like and more so when somebody of Rob Zombie's caliber, who's rich and famous, like, well, why don't you just put your own money into that? Well, even if you are famous and rich, like putting up 15-30 million dollars of your own money, uh, that's still a significant chunk, if not all of your total net worth. I mean, like the money you make versus your actual like net worth is completely different. So, the concept of well, Rob Zombie could afford to make this movie with his own money is absurd because he very well couldn't. I mean, there's a difference. There is a huge difference between money made your entire life and versus what you currently have in like your bank account. So
Yeah, I agree, and but it's just like even still though, I don't understand why people care. I don't understand as long as they like it. It's like I don't know if you know this. I can't remember what Nightmare on Elm Street it was. But Robert Englund didn't want to make it because he had enough of the Freddy character at this point. But they offered him a loads ton of money, and he says, "What the hell? I'll take it for the money." He got death threats from horror fans.
yeah, those aren't fans. Yeah, I mean, those are
It's
just
like morons. I'm sorry, I just don't understand people's thought process. For me, I don't care why a film's made. I don't care if the actor gets paid 1p for 5 hours or gets paid a million for 10 minutes being on set. If I like the film, I'll like it. That's it. I don't understand it, and I'm gonna go off because
no.
it
I agree.
annoys me. I don't
I
understand
I agree.
people.
I agree
I
with you. I mean,
don't
like
get it.
I'm not a I think crowdfunding is great in certain situations. Like we had the Dead by Daylight board game. I think was crowdfunded. The Friday the
Yeah,
13th game that we play was crowdfunded. Um,
yeah,
the slasher game, the slasher board game was crowdfunded. Mixtape Massacre, another horror board game, crowdfunded. 31, a fantastic horror exploitation film, crowdfunded, and it delivers on literally every aspect that you want in a horror movie. And that's just the negative connotation of crowdfunding because I mean here in America people call it internet panhandling. I'm sure it's probably the same over there where people use
Oh, it is.
crowdfunding just like, hey, I can't afford to go on vacation, pay for my vacation. That's kind of where like the stigmata comes from. But at the same time, to limit yourself, the Cards Against Humanity was crowdfunded. Yeah, to limit yourself on what you watch or buy because of how it was produced is idiotic. Unless there's like a moral objection to it, like say for me, I won't watch Jeepers Creepers because of Victor Salvo.
Yeah.
Gotta go, guys. Lots of thunder outside. Well, be safe, my dude. I won't watch Jeepers Creepers just because of Victor Salvo. Like, I can't morally can't do it.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I
that's
won't
just
sit
me.
here being, I won't sit here and be an hypocrite because I, I can watch it because I sort of take him out my mind, but it still lingers there if you get what I mean. But I do like that film, but yeah, I understand with that sort of stuff with being a monster. I mean, I'm sort of glad that I don't know if you've heard that Creepers is coming back out, but he's not going to be no longer part of it anymore.
Yeah, and that's probably when I'll be I'll watch those films as long as there's no financial gain or
Yeah, yeah,
recognition to Victor. Like I
yeah,
was kind of with you. Like before I watched it and I kind of knew about it, but I didn't really. I'm like you. Like at the time, I didn't really put much thought into it. I'm like, you know, okay, hey, I guess he's done his time because I didn't do any really research on it. I was like, so I guess he did his time, or whatever like that. But then you kind of figure out. Then you hear the story of everything, and then for me personally, now I have a kid.
yeah, yeah.
And she's 14 now, but still like when 14, 12 years ago, 14 years ago, it was like, hey man, if anybody even thought about, you know, fucking, I mean, still now, anybody who thinks about anything, I'd
Yeah,
fucking beat the
of course,
fuck
yeah.
out of them. So
Yeah, of
like,
course you would, of course you would, of
yeah, so
course you
like,
would. Yeah, and I do, I get that, and I was the same when I first watched Jeepers Creepers. I had no knowledge about this. It wasn't until the other sequels was coming. I heard like people saying, "Why is he getting paid for it?" And I was like, "Whoa, what's going on here?" And then when I done the research, it was kind of like, "Oh shit!" Like, do you get what I mean? Like
yeah,
the, it's just one. It's like, what's wrong with some people? Do you get what I mean? Like, I don't understand, man. I don't, I don't get it.
yeah. So fuck Victor Salvo, and I know we're kind of off topic
Yeah,
now because we're talking about
yeah,
Rob
I
Zombie
know,
horror
I know,
films, but
I know,
um,
I
yeah,
know.
that's this kind of thing. So we are now. Anything you want to add to 31?
Um, no, I ain't gonna go off on it again because it'll dumb shit annoys me like that with people saying, "Well, I'll watch it because it's crowdfunded or because an actor got paid so much money or whatever." I ain't going on about it. It's a great movie. That's it. I love the film. It's great.
All right, so now we are up to Three from Hell. Now, if y'all are looking at the screen, I think everybody knows where we're going to be ranking this one, so it shouldn't be a shock here. But for me, am I going last on this one, or is it you?
Um, I went. It's you. I just
Okay,
went on
all right,
31 day, I believe.
all right.
Yeah.
So obviously for me, Three from Hell comes in at number 5. Um, I I want to. So when this movie came out, given the title of the movie and knowing the events that how Devil's Rejects ended, I myself, through my own fault, had an expectation that there would have been like these people died, and then like the characters Otis, Captain Spaulding, and Baby died, and then Satan brought them back, or they escaped hell somehow. Some sort of weird, uh, some sort of story regarding that. Unfortunately, it's just a metaphor. They all survive the shooting. They all go to jail, um, and they're all scheduled to be executed. Two of them escape. One of them doesn't, and that's Sid Haig, who unfortunately was at the end of his life at the time. He was dying of prostate cancer, so that's why his scene was shot where it was. Um, but it does bring in Richard Brake, which helps save the film quite a bit for me because Captain Spaulding and Sid Haig are so instrumental to the Firefly series that losing him, you really need a character that stands out, and Richard Brake does that in this movie um, with his Winslow Coltrane character. I think mm, he adds not quite the Spalding element, but he adds something a little extra, which helps him kind of blend in with Otis and Baby, who are obviously known figures at this point. Um, but yeah, I mean, the title and my own expectations before I saw it, I was expecting one thing and got another, and I think that's why I was a little disappointed and why my ranking is at 5 and not up there with the other Firefly movies.
Yeah, and for me, it's at number 6, Free From Hell now. It's at number 6. I can still watch it and have a good time with it, but I'm like you, man. I hype myself so much for this film. When it first come out, I watched it and I was just like disappointed. But it's because I hyped it up. It was my own fault because I hyped it so much in my own head. Um, but after rewatching it, once I let the hype go down, and I rewatched it and I enjoyed it more. I've watched this film a few times, and I do like that it's got. And I am looking on Google because, like I say, my memory with these films are not that thing apart from the main characters. But like I say, Richard Brake brings something different again. I'm glad that you said it, Raven, one of the most underrated actors out there. You've got Emilio Rivera, who plays Aquarius from Sons of Anarchy, which is one of my all-time favourite TV shows. I love Sons of Anarchy. And yeah, just look, because this isn't number 6, I still think it's a decent movie. It's just, I hyped it too much in my own head, a bit like what you did. And it's still fun to watch House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects and Free From Hell. It's still fun to watch it as like the trilogy. But you can tell the quality difference from House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil Rejects, and then you get from Free From Hell. It's a drop in quality, but it's still a decent enough movie that you're not bored through it. I think it's still got some great kills and some great scenes in it, and honestly, I believe this is Cheryl's best performance. I do. I believe it's her best performance because I think she's a better actor than what people give her credit for.
Sherry, you think it's the best Sherry performance as Baby, or just as in all the Rob Zombie films? You think this was?
Oh no, it's Baby.
Okay.
It's Baby.
Okay.
It's Baby.
All right.
It's Baby. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Baby. But yeah, it's a drop in quality, but it's still. I'll tell you what it is for me. It's a Scream 3 of the Scream franchise. It's watchable. It's just not as good as the rest.
That's an actually damn good analogy. That is a damn good analogy.
Yeah, that's what it is for me.
I like I said, I like the movie. Maybe it's because it's Sid at the end of unfortunately at the end of his line, and knowing Sid as a human and seeing how gaunt and frail he looks in this movie, and knowing that hey, that's it was pretty much the end of the line for him. It's hard for me to watch that. Even more so because I know what kind of human being he was. Makes it difficult. But I do like Sherry's performance here. I do think she's really, really good. Obviously, Bill Moseley's fantastic. Otis. Bill Moseley could just fucking sit on a chair and stare at a wall, and it'd be a great performance. I mean, the guy knows horror, knows how to deliver on lines. Richard Brake, Danny Trejo, Dee Wallace is in it. Jeff Daniel Phillips. Our little midget Nazi Poncho's in this. He plays Sebastian. Actually, one of my Facebook friends, Bill Orbest Jr. is in this. Bill has the extinction of two great things. I don't know. Remember if you remember years ago, the Facebook did that take a lollipop deal where like if you took a lollipop, it played a video, and it was this guy like stalking somebody, and it turned out to be you. Like he was stalking you. Like you see your Facebook profile. You see he like pulls up like all your information because everybody shares too much information on Facebook, and like Bill is the stalker in that video, which was good. Um, but Bill also has the extinction of being uh, starring in a movie that only one of two movies that I've just turned off, and that's nude nuns with big guns. That it was a grindhouse exploitation film, and it's exactly the way that it sounds. It's nude nuns with big guns, and it is awful, man. It is just
Is it bad?
it is. It's hard to. I don't know, man. For me, it was just. Oh yeah, it was so Bill being in that, knowing Bill, I was like, oh shit, man, this is great. Um, he pointed out Emilio's in it. Emilio played what's his name in Sons. He played the Mayans leader.
Yeah, the Mayans leader. Yeah,
What was his name?
forgot his name.
Yeah, shit. That's gonna bother me now.
I do love that show. Yeah, I'll get it up.
Uh,
I'll end both our pain.
It's got Sean Whalen, who's in it who most people remember from People Wanted the Stairs. I remember as the pizza guy that delivered the wrong pizza to Monica and Rachel and Friends in the first season. uh, who else is in it? Oh, Clint Howard. Clint Howard, the ice cream man. He was in it. Yeah, Emilio's his name, but what's his name in Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it up. Sons of Anarchy. Yeah, his name was.
I want to say it was like Alvarez.
Alvarez.
Marcus Alvarez. Yeah.
Yeah, Marcus Alvarez.
Yeah, Marcus Alvarez. Yep. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like I said, my expectation for this movie, I thought one way, I thought it was going to happen one way, and something else happened, and that's my own fault. I shouldn't punish the movie for it, but I guess when you have a certain expectation in your head, and then it delivers something else, it affects it. And
Yeah.
like I said, seeing Sid the way Sid looks in that movie, uh, not good.
No, it's man. And yeah, like I say, it's watchable. It just doesn't touch the Ace of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects. Just doesn't touch them at all. But it's still watchable.
I agree. I mean, I think the top five for me. If anybody was like, "Hey, you want to watch this?" I'd be like, "Sure." The El Super Beasto, a fun movie, but just it's not really like my cup of tea as far as because it's just a cartoon movie. Which I like cartoons. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I'll watch like a Family Guy or a South Park or something like that. But I don't know, man. When it comes to like cartoon movies, I'm like, meh, whatever. Maybe because I had a daughter or have a daughter and she's older now, but like when we were younger, we used to watch a bunch of cartoon movies, and I don't know, maybe that's it. I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't just try to put a label on it, and maybe I'd say I'm just tired of cartoon movies for now.
Yeah, that could be it. Could be.
Yeah, like I watched the Harley Quinn show, Batman the Animated Series, American Dad. Like I watch all those. Like I love cartoons, just cartoon movies. I'm like, yeah. Lords of
Did
Salem.
you watch the Scorpion one, the Scorpion animated film?
No.
Mortal Kombat. That's good, man. That's brutal for a cartoon.
I didn't. I need to watch that because I like
That's
Mortal
pretty
Kombat.
damn good, man.
I like Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, I love it.
Lords of Salem. I just watched today. I don't really think I'll revisit unless unless we decide to maybe one day create like a website and start posting movie reviews from like the Vault or something, and we talk about this.
Yeah.
But I don't see myself revisiting it, and obviously Halloween too. I mean, yeah, I definitely won't be doing that. But I think so far, I'm interested in seeing his monsters take. Really, I'm a huge fan of the monsters, so be interested to see how he does with that. But first five for me: Devil's Rejects, 31, House of a Thousand Corpses, Halloween, Three from Hell, all easily rewatchable. All I can just put in and have fun with.
I think we're really close. Like I say, my top five we're really close. House of Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, 31, Halloween, Lords of Salem was my number five. I do prefer Lords of Salem over Free From Hell. Lords of Salem is a film I've rewatched quite a few times. I can rewatch it, even though it's slow. It's the scenes that grab me, but then it's just waiting for the next scene to grab me again. But I can revisit it, but I still enjoy Free From Hell. Even when I've seen El Super Beasto, I will watch it. I don't think I'll watch it again because I'm like you. I can watch animated. I mean, one of my favourite animated films I've actually got here, and I think you'll agree with me. I have the Kingdom Out by the Joker.
Oh yeah, yeah,
that's brilliant. I have that. So I can watch animated films, but it's gotta be really, really good for me to revisit again. So I'll watch El Super Beasto and I'll tell you if I watch it again. But I think I'd like it for a first watch. For me, yeah, Lords of Salem just takes it over Free From Hell for me.